this is an Easter egg guide for the tomb on Black Ops 6 Zombies. This will be a guide for solo players, but if you're in co-op, you can definitely use this guide. If you beat it thanks to this video, do me a huge favor and drop a like on the video. For your Gobblegums, it doesn't really matter what you run for 2 of them, but for your other 3, make sure you're running Idolize, Killjoy, and Power Keg. You want to get all 3 of these for the boss fight. For your other gums, you could run stuff like Who's Keeping Score, Raindrops, Near-Death Experience, it's up to you. Just, again, make sure you have these 3 on. For your loadout, I recommend running the XM4 because you need a bullet gun for the boss fight, and the XM4 I feel is the perfect balance between high damage, decent mobility, and a huge mag size, so run the XM4. If you want my attachments, here they are. For your tactical, run decoys, for your lethal, run C4s, and for your field upgrade, run Ether Shroud. Also, if you have any of the following augments, put them on because you need all the help you can get in this boss fight. Put Probiotic on Jug, Dying Wish on Quick Revive, Tribologist on PhD, Hot Foot on Stamina Up, Quick Swap on Speed Cola, and for Ether Shroud, run Extension. You can run Extra Charge if you want, but I personally prefer Extension. So to do this Easter egg, you first have to unlock Pack-a-Punch, and to do that, just go around the map and open a couple doors until you come across this area and interact with the purple stone to open a portal. Now go through it to unlock Pack-a-Punch. Now to go any farther in this Easter egg, you need to get the Ice Staff, but before we do that, let's get a free Pack-a-Punch real quick. You don't have to do this, but it's a very simple Easter egg, and like I said, you get a free Pack-a-Punch for it, so save your 5,000 points for some perks and do this Easter egg. In the Dark Ether here, if you look behind the Parasite pillar as I do, and you shoot this same rock, it'll make 5 rocks around here start orbiting. You gotta shoot all 5 moving rocks within 5 seconds to do this. I recommend looking for it and shooting the smallest one first to make this easier. Once you hit all 5, there'll be a free Pack-a-Punch drop, as well as a free Cryofreeze AAT drop in front of the altar. Alright, now that we have that, let's build and upgrade the Ice Staff. To build it, you gotta grab 3 parts. The first you can get on round 8. As soon as it turns to round 8, a Shock Mimic will spawn. Kill him and pick up the monocle he drops. Now to get the last 2 parts, you have to do something near Death Perception and something near Deadshot. We're gonna start with the Deadshot one though. There will be the purple fire traps hanging on the ceiling. You wanna shoot the lantern so the fire spills on the ground, and eventually it'll transfer to a nearby one. Shoot that one too until eventually the purple fire will be right here in front of this mural. When it is, you'll see a bunch of symbols on this mural. You gotta shoot these symbols in order from 1 to 8. So just to simplify everything, right now I'm flashing on the screen the exact order you have to shoot these 10 symbols in to do this right. I should also say that you want to get a Pack-a-Punch gun for this next step. Once you do it right, you'll get a white flash, and now you'll be in a mini lockdown. The purple orb will fly around this room that you're trapped inside, and it'll spawn normal zombies, vermin, and occasionally a mimic and or a Doppleghast. You just want to take all these enemies out to beat this phase. Each lockdown lasts for around 4 to 5 phases, and after it's done, you'll get another white flash, and now if you return where you shot the symbols, there will be an Ice Staff piece and a max ammo. Grab both and now go to Death Perception. Right now I'm showing you the nearby locations for it, and like I said, you gotta do the same thing here. The mural you gotta lead these lanterns towards is right here on the wall near Death Perception. Once the symbols are up, again, shoot these 8 symbols in this exact order, and once you do, it'll start another lockdown. You gotta do the same thing here. After you finish this lockdown, again, pick up the max ammo and the Ice Staff piece in the wall, and now go back to the Dark Ether Nexus to finish building the Ice Staff. Go up to the altar and place your Ice Staff parts in the middle here, and doing so will start a lockdown. Protect the Ice Staff from the purple-eyed zombies that are trying to attack it, and once you protect it for around 45 seconds or so, you will get a white flash and you can now return to the Ice Staff to pick it up. Now that you have the Ice Staff, real quick, let's do a very short side Easter egg to upgrade our bullet gun to purple. Make sure you're on round 11 or above before you do this, because if you're under round 11, then you'll get a blue wrench, not a purple one. But nonetheless, near the green portal there are 2 waterfalls. Shoot both of them with your staff and there will be a purple wrench on the ground here. Now to upgrade it, we gotta go back to those fire lanterns, and now you gotta get 3 of them near each other so you can shoot all 3 of them in under 10 seconds. Right now I'm showing you where every single location it can spawn is, and also just so you know, there can be up to 5 different lanterns in the map at any given time. Like we just went over, to move them closer, shoot the fire lantern with a red gun to relocate it nearby. To test this before you do it, run from the first one to the other 2 and see if you can do it in around 10 seconds. If you can, let's do the steps. So get as far away from the first lantern as you can while still being able to see it, and shoot it with your Ice Staff. As soon as you shoot it, hurry and shoot the other 2 with the Ice Staff to freeze 3 of them, and if you did it right, then the characters will start talking on the side of the screen. Now go to the Dark Ether Nexus and look in the sky for 3 rocks with purple symbols on them. They're kind of hard to see, and from my couple of games testing this, trying to figure out how exactly these steps work and everything, the locations for them do seem to be random, but if I find all the set spawn locations for it, then I will leave an update in the pinned comment below, linking a a video to every single spawn location. Once you do find a rock with a purple symbol on it though, shoot it with your ice staff to lower it. Now you gotta find the other 2 rocks and do the same thing. Once you lower all 3 rocks, take a picture of the symbol on each rock because you'll need it for the next step. Now look at the 4 fast travels in the Dark Ether Nexus and figure out which one is closed in your game. Only one of them will be closed and it'll be different every single game. So for example, in my game, it was the yellow door. Now leave the Dark Ether Nexus through a different portal and then run around the map to your closed portal. Now you'll see 8 symbols on the door. You gotta shoot the same 3 symbols that were on your rocks in the sky that you took pictures of. Once you do, the portal will open back up and you can teleport back through. Once you do, now you'll be floating on a rock, and to start the final step, interact with this orb. Now it'll move all around the Dark Ether and you gotta escort it and also get kills nearby it to charge it. It takes around a minute or a minute and a half to do this step, but once it goes to the altar, you'll get a white flash and you can interact with the altar to upgrade the ice staff into all 0. Now that you have the upgraded ice staff, let's start the Easter egg. So go to the Dark Ether Nexus and surrounding the altar there will be 4 pillars. Come up to this one with a statue of a vermin and pull out your Skemet's Vigor and shoot it with it. Or is it still called Skemet's Vigor in BO6? I don't know. Anyways, after you shoot it, interact with it to pick it up, and now go to spawn and place it on this statue, and this will start a lockdown. Kill around 40 vermin to beat this lockdown. When it's done, interact with the statue again to pick up the energy, and now go back to the Dark Ether Nexus. Be careful though, because if you look at the left side of your screen, you can't get hit more than 3 times, or else you'll lose the energy and you'll have to redo this step. Also, the portal closest to where this lockdown is will be closed, so you'll have to go to a different one, and along the way, zombies will keep spawning in doorways, so just be careful of that, don't get caught on zombies, and like I said, don't get hit. Once you're back in the Dark Ether Nexus, return to the Vermin statue and interact with it to place the energy down, and doing so will activate this pillar. Now come across to the Parasite statue, pull out your Skemet's Vigor and shoot it at the statue, and then interact with it and go out through the yellow portal. Doing so will spit you out right in front of this statue. So run up to it and place it down to start a lockdown, and this one is basically like playing a time minigame of the Beam Smasher quest from Terminus. Parasites will spawn, and when you kill one, it'll drop a purple orb. Interact with the orb to pick it up, and then run back to the statue and place it down. As soon as you do, take out another Parasite and he'll drop an orb, and rinse and repeat. You have to do this around 10 to 15 times within the allotted time to successfully beat this lockdown. Once you do, again, pick up the energy, go to a different portal besides the yellow one, and place it back down at the statue. Now we gotta do this 2 more times. Next, go behind the altar and shoot the Doppleghast statue with the Skemet's Vigor and interact with it and go through the green portal. This lockdown is right in front of Speed Cola. To beat this lockdown, you have to take out around 5 to 7 Doppelghasts. Just shoot a charged staff shot on the ground, and that'll take them out easy. After you beat the lockdown, pick up the energy, go to a different portal besides the green one, and go to the Nexus and place it down on the Doppelghast statue. Finally, come over to the last pillar, and shoot the Amalgam statue and pick it up, and go through the red portal, and go down there quick revive for the final lockdown. To beat this one, you have to take out the red Amalgam that spawns. Eventually, he'll get a protective bubble around him, and when he does, look to see what zombie that bubble's attached to and take him out. Once you do, the bubble will break and you can go back to damaging him. After you kill him, pick up the energy, go through a different portal, and place it down at the Amalgam statue. Now, believe it or not, it is time for the boss fight. Unfortunately, this Easter egg is pretty short, but with saying that, this boss fight is pretty intense, so before you even think about going in this boss fight, you want to be fully set up, and I mean fully set up. Get your XM4 Tier 3 Pack-a-Punch Gold Rarity, and also put Lightmend on it to help take care of the Doppelghast. More on that later. Make sure you get full armor, get a self-revive if you went down, and get a mutant injection. Do not get a chopper gunner. You will not be able to use it in the boss fight, so do not craft one. Instead, get a mutant injection. For your perks, get Juggernog, Quick Revive, Stamina, PhD, Speed Cola, Deadshot Daiquiri, Electric Cherry, and Death Perception. No, I'm not kidding. It'll actually come and help for the boss fight. And finally, for your Gobblegums, you want to get Idolize, Killjoy, and Power Keg. And also, one last thing, before you go into boss fight, make sure you're at a point in your game where you can save and quit. That way, if you foobar the boss fight, you can back out and try again without having to do this entire quest over again. Just if you do this, make sure when you load back in, you advance the round one more time before you go back into boss fight so you can save and quit again. When you are ready for the boss fight though, come near Juggernog, and behind it will be this door. Interact with this pillar that's raised out the ground, and a path to the boss fight arena will open. Go down it and interact with the Sentinel artifact to start the boss fight. Now, to beat this boss fight, there are 3 parts to it. For the first part of this boss fight, the Sentinel artifact will just spin around this boss fight arena, and it'll raise and lower to change from shooting the top floor and the bottom floor of it. If the Sentinel artifact hits you, then it'll shock you, and if you get hit again while you're doing this animation, then you will go down, so be careful. If you are about to get hit by it, you can crouch to avoid it. For the first part of this boss fight, you just want to camp behind the stairs with your ice staff until you hear this sound. As soon as you hear that sound, if you look out, the Sentinel artifact will now be purple and it'll be shooting an orb towards the statue. If the orb it's shooting makes it to that statue, then it'll spawn whatever enemy that's on the statue it's shooting. To stop the orb, shoot the Sentinel artifact until you break it and it makes this sound. After you break it, a max ammo will spawn in the middle. This happens after you beat every phase in this boss fight, but just be careful grabbing a max ammo in the later phases of this boss fight because it'll be a little challenging too. After you beat phase 1, it'll add another Sentinel artifact and it'll do the same thing. Camp behind the stairs and wait until you hear the same sound, and then run out and shoot a charged light staff shot on the ground in front of you and shoot the Sentinel artifact with your XM4 to break it. If you're fast enough and you can destroy both Sentinel artifacts, then you can actually skip a phase in this boss fight and go straight to phase 4. But if you only break one, then that's fine. You'll just have to do the same thing one more time, but instead there'll be 3 Sentinel artifacts. But like I said, if you break both of them in phase 2, then you'll skip straight to phase 4, which has 4 Sentinel artifacts. Again, do the same thing. Camp behind the stairs until they turn purple, and once they do, shoot a charged staff shot on the ground, and shoot one of the Sentinel artifacts to break it. You only have to break one in phase 4, so just focus on breaking one, and once you do, the rest of them will be immune. At this point, a max ammo will spawn in the middle, and now the music will change. This is where the boss fight starts to pick up. Now we're in part 2 of this boss fight, and make sure you're paying attention here. In phase 2, you don't have to worry about shooting the Sentinel artifacts in the middle anymore. What'll happen now is the Sentinel artifact will actually spawn in an enemy and go in that enemy. It could be a zombie, a Doppleghast, a mimic, or an Amalgam. If you get hit by an enemy that's carrying the Sentinel artifact, then you will go down in one hit. The only way to save yourself from this is with Dying Wish on Quick Revive and using Ether Shroud or Idolize before you get hit. Those are your only options to protect yourself from this. So for phase 1 of the second part of this boss fight, the Sentinel artifact will be in a zombie. Run around the outside of the bottom floor of this arena and shoot the zombie with a charged staff shot and your red gun until you kill him. This should go without saying, but make sure you're keeping your distance from him. Do not get close to him. Make sure you take your time though. You're not on a timer, and there will be other boss enemies that spawn as well, so if you get overwhelmed, you gotta take them out first. That's completely fine. Take your time, take it nice and slow. Just whatever you do, do not get hit by the Sentinel artifact zombie. Eventually though, you will take out the zombie with the Sentinel artifact, and now that Sentinel artifact will turn purple. Now, just like you did in phase 1, you have to shoot this Sentinel artifact that dropped until you turn it red and it makes this sound. Again, after you break it, there'll be a max ammo in the middle. Just like I said, be careful grabbing them because there are 4 Sentinel artifacts and you don't want to get caught by one. Now for phase 2, there'll be a zombie with a blue Sentinel artifact. The enemies that spawn in this boss fight with the blue Sentinel artifacts can still one-shot you, but they're the Sentinel artifacts that you've already destroyed. So once you take out these enemies, you don't have to shoot that artifact. With that said though, I would prioritize killing the zombies with the blue Sentinel artifact over the one with the red one. So once you do take out the red one, there will be no other enemies in the map that can one-shot you. So that way you can just focus on breaking the Sentinel artifact and not fail this. Speaking of, the enemy in this phase that will have the red Sentinel artifact will be a Doppleghast. This is why I said to run Lightman, because he's actually weak to it. Get a safe distance from him and shoot a charged staff shot where he's running and spray him down with your Lightman until he gets close to you, and then run away from him and rinse and repeat. You can take him out fairly quickly doing it this way. If you're getting overwhelmed, don't forget you have Ether Shroud and also you have Idolize. And also if you need to, you have a mutant injection you can use. However, I recommend saving it for the last phase. Just like the other phases, after you kill him, shoot the purple artifact until you break it and it makes that same sound. For the next phase, you gotta do the same thing as the last 2, but this time a mimic will have the red Sentinel artifact and a Doppleghast and a zombie will spawn in with the blue ones. Again, I recommend taking care of the blue ones first because even though it is slower, it is a lot safer doing it this way. And by the way, let me just clarify this, you can damage all 3 of them at the same time, but just make sure you kill the red one last. To take out the mimic, he's actually weak to your staff, so get some distance from him and shoot a charged staff shot where he's walking, and while he's running towards you, shoot him with a few single shots until he gets close to you, and then get distance from him and rinse and repeat. Again, doing it this way will help you take him out relatively easily. Once again, shoot a Sentinel artifact to break it, and now we're on the last phase of this part of the fight. This is definitely the hardest part. Now you gotta take out a zombie, a Doppleghast, and a mimic with a blue Sentinel artifact, and also worry about an Amalgam, which is carrying the red one. If you still have your mutant injection, then I'd say use it here. Use it to take out the special enemies, just do not kill the Amalgam. You can get him low, just do not fully kill him until you're out of the mutant injection. If you don't have it though, remember you still have Ether Shroud, you have Idolize, you have a power keg, and you have a killjoy if you need it. Once you take out the amalgam though, shoot the sentinel artifact to break it, and at this point the music will stop. This is when you need to get ready for the last part. As soon as the music stops, run up here and buy some ammo and run towards this door. If you look at the sentinel artifacts, you'll see that they're actually lining up to go to the door. If all of them go through the door, then it'll insta-kill you and it'll be instantly game over. No matter if you have a dying wish, no matter if you have a self-revive, no matter if you're hiding behind a wall, nothing will save you. So as soon as you see the first sentinel artifact go through the door, spray down that sentinel artifact in the door with your XM4. Make sure you're focusing on the sentinel artifact. It has to be on the sentinel artifact. Normal zombies will spawn during this part, so if you have it, pop Ether Shroud or Idolize, or if you don't have them, shoot a charged staff shot on the ground and then immediately go back to shooting the wall. If you damage it enough, then you will get a white flash, and congratulations, you have successfully beaten the tomb. All that's left to do is to grab the sentinel artifact here and you'll get the cutscene. Even though the Easter egg itself is pretty simple, that boss fight's no joke, so if you beat it, hats off to you. You're a good zombies player. Click here to go watch my other BO6 guides, or click here to go watch some COD Zombies hot takes. If this helped you, make sure you drop a like and subscribe if you're new. Huge shout out to my members. Thank you all so much for supporting me, and with that being said, I will see you all in the next one. Peace out.